Hey everybody, welcome to another video on questions that I've received on osteoarthritis recovery management, particularly in this case, a hip osteoarthritis problem. Now, these questions have all actually come from the same person. So thank you very much to James for writing in with these questions. These are excellent questions, and I did reply to him personally, but I'm making this video for everyone else because these are exactly the types of questions that so many people have. So I'm going to read through it and I'm going to explain the issues. I've been following your protocol for about 4 months. I'm feeling great. My knee's feeling the best it has in 2 years. I have more energy, more mental clarity. He's even healed his fungal toenail. That's a result of the low sugar diet or the ketogenic diet. Blah, blah, blah. Thanks a million. I have a few questions. Okay. Please can you add me to the community WhatsApp list? The answer to that is yes, because James became a member. So members of this channel, and there's a link down the bottom here, and I'll put a link at the end of the video too. Actual members are on my WhatsApp list and also then are able to message me directly on the phone with any questions. Do you recommend collagen powder or bone broth? Yes and yes. None of these things are magic bullets though. They are just part of a dietary approach to making sure your body has the nutrients that it needs to be able to rebuild cartilage. They're not medications. They're not going to magically cure you. But yes, I do recommend both of them. What else can turbocharge joint healing? Well, if you're talking about specific foods that are high in collagen and are going to give you a lot of nutrients that are going to be useful, in addition to collagen powder and bone broth, I would say sardines, chicken skin, and maybe supplements like chondroitin and glucosamine. And the glucosamine in particular, the science isn't all that overwhelming. And so a lot of people will say it's nonsense. A lot of people will swear by it. You've got nothing to lose. Glucosamine is an important component in the chemical pathway of manufacturing collagen, which is what your cartilage is made of. So it's definitely worth giving it a try. Right. You shared that you have been able to return to running, which I have. My question is, how did you know that your hip was ready for that? The pain, the lack of pain. If you want to test whether your hip is ready for anything, start carefully and go by the level of pain. Your body will tell you whether you can do it or not. I was able to start jogging eventually after 9 months or so, very, very slowly and very short distances without pain. And so that's pretty much how I knew. Did you prioritize other exercises first to rebuild and strengthen your joint? The answer is yes, most definitely. The first exercise you want to start doing once your inflammation is down and you feel able to exercise is very specific rehab exercise to address the imbalance that has led to the problem in the first place. Going straight back to the exercise you used to do is not a good idea because you're probably just going to start the problem all over again. So I'm going to link videos here, down here, that I did on specific exercises for hip arthritis. James is talking about his hip. I'm going to do a video very shortly on knee arthritis, and then I will come back and link it to this. So if you're watching this and you don't see a knee arthritis exercise video linked at the bottom, just give it a few days and come back and have a look, and it should be there. But the answer is very definitely yes. Proper, careful, deliberate rehab exercise is absolutely vital to not only fixing your damaged joint, but to ensuring that it doesn't happen again. What is your stance on footwear when it comes to running? And where do you stand on the barefoot shoes debate? Okay, this is an interesting one. And for those of you who are not runners, this is around the idea that running, what runners call barefoot running, is not necessarily barefoot running. It's running in a very minimalistic shoe that has very little support and forces your foot to run naturally and to use all the little foot balancing muscles, whereas in a more traditional running shoe with lots of support, our foot muscles don't really get that much of a workout. And the idea is that if you run more naturally, it's got to be better for you. And the logic of that is quite good. It kind of makes sense. My issue with it is that there's nothing particularly natural about our lifestyle. We wear shoes most of the time, and so our foot muscles don't get much exercise. We go to work in shoes, we go to restaurants in shoes, we go to the supermarket in shoes, and we sit at a desk a lot of the time, or in a car or on a couch. And when we do get exercise, it can be quite traumatic for the body because the body's not used to it. So to then go and suddenly run barefoot or imitate barefoot if you're spending the rest of the day sitting on wearing shoes can lead to injury. So it's not that simple. And I'm going to link a video that I made on another channel down here about my take on whether or not you should be running with traditional running shoes or so-called barefoot running shoes. It is quite an interesting one, and the answer will be different for different people because it depends on your lifestyle. This is great. When will there be a scientific article or study or clinical trial that proves that a low-carb, low-sugar diet can heal joints? Okay, the answer is never, because it does not. That is not what heals your joint. Going on a low-carbohydrate diet lowers inflammation so that it is easier for your joint to repair itself. Now, in addition to lowering inflammation, you need to eat the right nutrients to give it the building blocks that it needs, and you need to do the exercises to restore the muscle imbalance. You will not heal a joint just by going on a low carbohydrate diet. So the answer to that is it won't, but I think really what James's point was, and this comes up later in his question, was a peer-reviewed, scientifically recognized study would certainly win a lot of people round to the gains of your approach. So if you're talking about the approach of a low-sugar diet, a non-inflammatory diet, a proper nutrient-rich diet, proper rest, proper sleep, the appropriate exercise, all those things together to rebuild a joint and avoid a joint replacement, it's going to be very difficult to get a good study on that, because what do? You take 1,000 people who need a hip replacement and you turn them into guinea pigs and say, right, you are going to eat this, you are going to eat that, you're not allowed to eat anything else, you will do these exercises, you will do these bad exercises, and somehow they're not supposed to even know what they're eating. It's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So this is exactly the kind of thing where anecdotal evidence is actually quite valuable, because that's really all we have. But the beauty of it is that if you want to do this, it'll take you 3 months and 3 months will be enough to know if it's going to work. Now, you're not going to heal everything in 3 months unless your damage was not so bad in the first place, but you will always make enough progress in 3 months to know whether or not it's actually going to work for you. It's 3 months to delay your surgery. It's 3 months to just change the way you eat and just do some exercises. Nothing expensive, no gimmicks, no procedures, no expensive medications, nothing to lose at all. Just try it. There's enough evidence out there from enough people that it really can work. And then the last point was about how James works full-time and spends a lot of time behind a desk, and so he has weak, unengaged glutes and a bad back. And when he does go running, he ends up getting injured. This is the story of my life and so many other people too. How do I recommend managing that kind of thing? And that, again, even if you don't have arthritis, if you are leading a sedentary life, you have a desk job, you're sitting in a car a lot of the time, and you want to do sport, whatever that sport is, whether you're playing social football or whether you're running, you need to make sure that you include in your exercise regime specific exercises to keep your core strong and to keep your muscles in balance, so that your sport doesn't lead to injuries. And so many of our sports injuries come as a result of overuse, but are not necessarily doing a massive amount. It's more overuse relative to what the rest of your lifestyle is like. So thank you, James, for those questions. Those are excellent questions. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. And, you know, when we have a sample of good questions, I'm always happy to make another video. Please subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our new content. And as I said, come back soon, and there will be a video down here with some exercises around how to deal with an arthritic knee, in addition to the hip exercise video, which I'm going to put there now. Thank you very much.